August, I'd love to give everybody on the call here just a little bit of background about yourself. So please share kind of your background and what led you into the decision to become an owner with us here at HomeWell.
So, Mike, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about myself and HomeWell in general and HomeWell Augusta, Georgia. So, just about me, 24 years military services. I know it kind of seems a little hard if I tell somebody I retired and I'm doing a home care business. It's kind of, but one thing, I don't see any difference between home care and the military services. Because after two decades of military service, it kind of teach you to show up for others. So the goal is to help others. So through my military career, I spent years leading team, solving problem, and also taking care of people during a critical moment. So when I'm talking about critical moment, we talk about client who need help or family who have loved one who need help. So to me, there's no difference between the military and home world. It's just changing the uniform. Now, what drew me to home care is the opportunity to continue serving people. And also, I saw a growing need to help senior, veteran, and individuals with disability. So that is the main things. And the goal is to maintain them in their home, because no one want to go to the hospital and stay there for a long period of time. No one want to be at the home care facilities or any nursing home. So that is the most important thing. Now, home care service to HomeWell actually stood out to me because it aligned with the value I already have from the military. What are those values? The most important is the integrity. The second one is the accountability, service, and the last one is the compassion. That
Yeah.
is is what drove me towards HomeWell. I'm sure maybe down the road you might ask me the question, but I've vetted almost between 10 and 15 franchise organization, and I narrowed down to two. I'm not going to call the one, but HomeWell was number one. Back to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And I think what aligned with us really well with you specifically, and I know we've talked about this, is, this process of discovery of, hey, does this franchise fit me, and do we fit you? And that whole kind of discovery process, it's about the values and the why. And I know we talked a lot about it at our conference. Our owners here, they have to have a why they're doing the business. While we want them to be successful and earn a living and be able to build successful businesses, it starts with what exactly you said is the integrity and the why you're doing this, which is to help people. And I think you encapsulated that very, very well. And one of the things that we loved about you through that process was that exact reason. So you decide to join. Was it a hard decision for you to get in? I mean, usually we see a lot of people as they get towards the finish line of the discovery and education process, it's scary, and that's perfectly normal. So what was that like for you when you decided to say, hey, this is the business I'm going to be in. I'm going to sign that franchise agreement and we're going to go full steam. What went through your head during that time?
So the process to me, it was too long when I started. But in the reality, I think it's a normal process. I'm a type of person, I like to get things done quickly.
Yeah.
So the decision, it was not hard for me because I was a caregiver when I was in college and high school. And I made a decision that time. It doesn't matter what I do throughout my career, I will end up serving people on this way, not as a caregiver, maybe something higher level. So my mind was already made. Now, selecting the organization I wanted to represent was the process that took a little longer, but which completely is fine because you have to invest and select the best organization. And I do not regret right now. If you ask me the question, if I can do it again, I will do it again. HomeWell was the organization I selected, no question.
So you sign the agreement and you get in and you start. You're a military guy, so you're used to training and process, right? The couple of things the military is really good at is process and having something for everything. So tell the folks here a little bit about your journey as you onboarded and before you got your agency open. What was that like? Obviously, you're in Georgia, so it's a licensure state. So there's certain requirements you had to meet and certain things you had to do in order to submit for your license. But talk a little bit about the journey you went through and also the support you got from the HomeWell team.
Oh yeah, so the journey as again, to me it was seemed too long, but I enjoy and I learned a lot of things. I know some of them doesn't have anything to do with HomeWell Corporate. It's just a local law. It kind of involved in the process, and it's something we need to learn. So I got outstanding support from corporate. They guide me step by step where to start and where to finish, to include the selection of a timeline, how it can work. So it was no surprise or any hidden agenda or anything like that. So I got the first thing I got done was my license. And when the license is done, I was involved on the onboarding process and I learned a lot. I thought I was an expert as a caregiver, but I learned something almost 90% was completely new to me. But I learned that quickly. And it gave me the prospect to be ready when it comes down to operational wise. And in addition to my military experience, it kind of helped me set the tone and set a condition so everything goes well on my side.
Yeah. What challenges did you kind of have kind of as you went through that process? Because again, I think, when you join a franchise, nothing ever goes to plan. Nothing's ever perfect. And we definitely don't want to set that expectation. We have a really good process, but were there any challenges that you kind of experienced prior to opening that you would give advice to people that as they're looking at this is, hey, this is a watch out for as you're going through that openings process?
So like I did not see any challenge throughout the process. Is when I open up the business, I discover there's a few I could identify as a challenge, but being naive or you didn't know anything about it, you cannot consider that as a challenge. Now, advice I can give to anyone who is interested specifically for home home well, it just make sure you go through the training 100%. Do not can't take anything lightly because every single is being taught, you will see it again. So don't think you are expert on this domain. For example, on the IT side, you still need to be good on anything related to electronic. It's not old school version right now. So that's one thing. If you neglect that, you're going to see down the road as a challenge for you yourself. The second thing, I'm sure is something we can dig into a little bit more, is a vendor selection. For anyone who's not in the business yet, might not know what we're talking about, but is it something you need to take into consideration when you're doing your selection for the vendors?
Yeah, that's a great point, and thank you for leading us into that. As our job here at HomeWell is to kind of give you the tools and resources to make the decision that best fits you. We have over 65 different vendors that serve every piece of your business as it relates to what you may need. But I think kind of where you're going with this is not all vendors are right for you in the beginning, middle, or end stages of your business. You got to kind of find what works for you. Talk to us a little bit about what you experienced and some of the the things you know now that maybe you would have done differently from a vendor selection standpoint.
Yeah, so to answer that question, one important thing anyone need to learn, you need to connect with existing franchisees because they went through every single process. They lived it. They encountered a lot of challenges. They test every platform or test any vendor. So my advice to be connect with existing franchisees, get some information, get some advice before you go through it. Myself, I know it's a short period of time, but I test several of them. I'm not going to mention any name, but it allows you to kind of scale your business. If it doesn't fit you, make the decision quickly. You don't have to wait for a long period of time where you're investing time and money on something that's not going to benefit you in the long term.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the key part is, we really want to provide a lot of options, but it's got to fit you and it's got to fit your budget. And so we try to help with that process as much as we can. But to your point, there's over 150 other owners actively running these agencies today. Make a phone call. And they're all very similar to who we're talking to today, who are more than happy to answer the phone and give you their advice and wisdom. And I think that's a key message in a lot of this today. Um, Coming from the military, obviously very structured, disciplined, applying those principles to business ownership. What has been the hardest challenge for you personally in being a business owner, coming from a military background and not maybe having that experience before? For you personally, I'd love to know that. I don't think I asked you that one before.
Yeah, so the first thing is change your uniform. I'm just yeah. So when we talk about the military, we talk about discipline, we talk about integrity, and we talk about accountability. I think I already mentioned that. So today, I'm sure a lot of people might say I'm successful on a short period of time. It doesn't have anything to do with a success. You have to invest yourself in your business. And when I talk about investing yourself in your business, caregiver are the most important resource for your business. Every single caregiver needs to feel value in your business. Your client are your number one source of income or number one source of your success. So you need to value your client. Now, on the military side, we learn how to take care of our families and the family of other soldiers. So it's the same thing. So there was no major challenge. It's just the speed and the capacity the work has been done.
How do you talk about accountability, especially with your caregivers, right? How do you hold them accountable to a standard of excellence? I think that's a question we get. Talk a little bit about your process for helping them, but also making them feel a part of your team, right? And building a culture that wants to be there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Yeah. So again, caregiver, you cannot be successful if you don't have a great or well-trained caregivers. In the meantime, on the military side, there's something called counseling. We have several ways to give a counseling to somebody. We might even go wall-to-wall counseling. It's just a joke. But for the caregiver, you need to hold them accountable. One, to protect your organization on the law side, and two, provide the best care quality. I'm sure if Michelle Cohn was on the thing, she can give you hours and hours of speech on the quality of care. So that's is something you need to focus. Just at the Augusta level, what I'm putting in place, we have a phase of counseling for caregivers. One thing is the most important. We got to take care of a client. If you have a schedule for a client, you know that client is kind of on you to survive. If the caregiver doesn't make it, it creates a lot of issues, not only for the business, but also for the client. So we put a system in place to kind of motivate the caregiver. One, we do a monthly best caregiver. It kind of motivate everyone to be part of that group. There's a criteria for that. No call, no show. You got to be on time or for your shift. You got to be consistent. The word consistent is very, very critical. So we use that to kind of set the condition to maintain these caregiver on the organization.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think what you said there was, don't be afraid to hold them accountable to the standards that you set as the leader of your organization. I think a lot of owners and people come into this business thinking, hey, we can always hire more caregivers. We can, but we also have to protect them. And I'm afraid to hold them accountable because what if they don't work for me anymore? Or how am I going to get caregiver staff? I think it's
Yeah.
almost the opposite. And you tell me if that's accurate, that when you do hold them accountable and you hold a standard, people want that in this industry from a leader of the team. Is that kind of what you see within your organization?
Oh, yes, that's 100%. Accountability is very important. Again, the caregiver got to feel valuable in your organization. In the meantime, you got to protect the caregiver. In the same time, you got to protect the client and protect your organization. So accountability is around the clock.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's all about setting up that culture. And I think
Yes.
you're just hitting that right on the head with kind of every little nuance that you're doing. One area I do want to talk just a little bit about is kind of how you've thought differently about marketing. I know you've brought some ideas to us as a corporate, and we're going to talk about it because I think it's a fantastic way of franchisor collaboration in growing the brand and also growing at a unit level what you're doing. So can you talk a little bit about, when you came in and you had this idea with, hey, how do I drive people from a internet perspective and SEO perspective, where that came from a little bit? You don't have to go into a ton of details around the execution of it, but just the thought process around that.
Yeah, so the thought process about the marketing process, I learned a lot again throughout the onboarding process. Uh, HomeWell, the corporate, you have a strong support team, and you have all the platform available for any franchisee to be successful. And what I did, I abused this system. I took advantage of it. We talk about associate. It is one platform you cannot, if you don't use it, that means you're not going to be successful. You need to. So I focused a little bit more on the digital marketing. I think it got a little bit something to do with my background as a
Mhm.
cyber officer. It does not mean I'm an expert on marketing, but I kind of used all the resources available at the corporate side to beef up my marketing side, platform here.
Yeah, and I think again, the reason I love to highlight that is, again, as a franchisor, we know the day in day outs. We know most of the challenges. We're here to help overcome that. But I think where franchising gets really fun is when you have people like August come in and he's got a different background that can add a different spin onto something he's an expert in and help the system grow. And a lot of what August is talking about are things we're teaching our new owners today on how to execute what he's done from an SEO perspective because he's brought that. And I think the collaboration side of where we can be successful and continue to grow is exactly where that is. And that's what I love to tell about that story is when franchisees come to a franchisor like us, we want to be receptive to ideas because if it's working in that market, is it going to work across the country? And let's test it and try it out. And I think that's what we're finding with what you brought to the table. And it's been a resounding success, not only for you, but I know for more people as we continue to launch more agencies. So it's fantastic. And that's what this is. It's a true building of businesses together. And it's the exciting part. So we have just a few minutes left. At my last question, I promise, because I can sit here and talk to you all day, my friend. Um,
Yeah.
what is your advice to somebody that's looking at this industry that has the passion and purpose to tell them, hey, believe in yourself and you can be successful in this industry? So what would that advice be to that next person?
Yeah, so the advice for anyone who want to get into not just with HomeWell, any home care industry and going for a franchise. Uh, you know what? A business, it got to be a combination of a purpose and opportunity. And you have to create your own purpose. The opportunity is already there. HomeWell is the opportunity. So it requires some type of commitment, compassion, and leadership. It's not just the reward usually comes when you put all the system in place and execute with the support we get from a corporate. Um, I know I had a conversation with a few new franchisee coming in. If somebody say I'm scared, that is a red flag. You should not be scared because you have the strongest support behind you. You will never fail. That is just one of the advice I want to give to anyone who want to get into the business. Is the rewarding. But at the end of the day, you got to think about one thing. You just help somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's all about, not only from our perspective and allowing you to build a great business, which is going to help a lot of people in your community, and that trickles down to the owners that are executing day in and day out to give people just a better quality of life as they age. And that's the mission and purpose here at HomeWell is to help that mission continue to thrive throughout the country. So August, I literally I could sit here and talk to you all day, my friend. But I won't do that to you because that's not fair. You got people to help. We're going to go ahead and pause there. I want to thank you for your time. I'll open it up to any questions that are out there. We have about